What's going on YouTube? So back in the shop again, gonna work on getting the coilover swapped on in the back of this truck. So I've already took the bed off of it, got the bed up in the air, and I took the old shocks out for that. So I took the old shocks out, ground down where they mount or whatever, and then just got me some bare metal for where my brackets is going to go for the rear ones. So got both sides of that done. I hadn't done the axle yet. I did ground or cut off where the shocks mount to the axle, but I hadn't actually ground it down or positioned it or anything. So what I'm gonna be looking at doing here is I got this one already mocked up with just the brackets hanging on it. None of it's welded or anything. It's just got a bolt running through it, holding it there. And let me try to get you set up so I have two hands for this. What I'm thinking here, just mount it about in there, and then put my mounts down on the axle and run it like this on both sides. Right now I'm waiting on my brother to get here. He helps me out sometimes with this truck, but he's going to tack these in and weld them for me. So I'm gonna get the top ones done, and then I'll end up going underneath, seeing where my bottom ones need to be, and then I'll bolt those in and then weld and tack those on, and I'll let you see the setup once it's done. Pretty straightforward process. The most time consuming part is just cutting and grounding old mounts off. So I'm gonna get back to work on this, and I'll get back with you once I get everything kind of tacked into place and let you see how it looks. Okay, so I got the rear coilovers mounted on the truck. I still gotta adjust them and stuff for the ride height and everything. So I'll do that once it's on the ground, but that's pretty much what I got going on. So I cut the old shock mounts off, welded these onto the frame, just put some paint on there just to stop the rust. I'll put the links in the description for the brackets here, as well as the Viking Shock kit that I used. It's going to vary depending on your application though, so just be aware of that. You might want to get with the Vikings themselves and get a set spec'd out for you. Like me, I'm running a very lightweight spring just because I do have the leaf springs on here. Now later on I might 4-link the rear end and get rid of the leaf springs completely, and then I'll run a heavier spring. This is how I did it up top. So I cut the shock mount off of this one, welded those brackets on there, we got it all hooked up there. Same thing with this one. Now this one I didn't actually have to cut the shock mount off the front or the back, because these trucks alter how their shocks are. The one goes on the front, the axle one goes on the back. Since this one was on the front, I didn't really have to mess with any of that. I just put it on each side of that brake line mount there. I measured the mounts that are even on each side, and then I just did the same up here. Again, I didn't have to cut this one out because it wasn't a shock mount here. I just had to grind down to some bare metal and then weld these brackets on, and that's pretty much the setup. I'm gonna go ahead and lower it on the ground, let you see what it looks like on the ground at about the ride height it's gonna be. I do want to get a lighter spring because it will not let me lower it down as much. It actually sits a little higher than I originally planned. So okay, so that's pretty well how the truck's going to sit on the ground. It's a little bit higher than it was. I want to lower the front about an inch or two in the front, and I do want to bring this down about an inch, but I'm gonna have to order a lighter spring. I mean, I got these turned about as loose as they can be, and it still sits up that high. So, but it should get me up off the frame, stop me from bottoming out. Like I said, I'm gonna try and get a lighter spring, lower it down about an inch. That'll also give me a little more travel. I'll probably have 5 to 6 inches of travel on the suspension now for extension. So hopefully that'll help me plant the tires at the track and do a little better. But we'll do some testing on it. I'll get you some videos of testing them out versus some passes I did earlier today with the stock shocks. and we'll see the results on it. So if you're interested in getting a set, you'll see how much it improves